Our first guest has chronicled the often amazing events of her life in the best-selling book, What Falls Away. The world knows her from her roles in TV's Peyton Place and the classic films The Great Gatsby, The Great Gatsby, thank you, and the extremely terrifying, so scary I didn't even see the whole thing, Rosemary's Baby. Take a look.
He has his father's eyes.
What are you talking about? Guy's eyes are normal. What have you done to him, you maniac?
Satan is his father, not Guy.
Mia Farrow.
Great to be here.
Do you know I have never seen the whole Rosemary's Baby?
You coward.
I know. I'm a little bit of a chicken.
Maybe when you're older.
You think so? Do you know that I saw Burnt Offerings once with, remember, did you see that, Betty Davis?
No, I never saw that one.
It's a really bad horror film, and I had nightmares for years.
I can't watch them either.
No.
I haven't watched The Exorcist. I can't.
I never saw it either. I didn't even see Jaws.
Yeah, I didn't see Jaws.
You didn't see Jaws?
No, I can't.
High five, Mia. We don't see the same scary movies. This is a wonderful book.
Thank you so much for saying those things.
But it's the truth. I read this book, and I called Nora Ephron, my friend, who is also a brilliant writer, and we were speaking of how wonderfully well you write. You write lyrically.
Thank you so much.
No, you wrote the whole thing yourself.
Yes, I did.
Sat down in a room with a pen to a paper.
Yeah, for 4.5 years, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took me that long. But I was doing other things. I did 4 movies, and I have a lot of kids, as you know.
Yes, I know.
So it was busy,
yeah.
but I got it done, and I'm glad you like it.
The part that amazed me was the early part of your life, growing up in Beverly Hills as like a rich, privileged kid. It's sort of a side of the world that you never really get to see or understand what it feels like. Tell everyone about how the tour buses would come by.
Gosh, well, we lived on Beverly Drive, which is right in the center of Beverly Hills. And the tour buses would come, and they'd point out all the movie stars' houses. And my mother was Maureen O'Sullivan, a famous movie star. She was Jane in the Tarzan movies, Jane. So the buses would come up, and they'd point out our house, and we were ready for them. And we had bottles of ketchup hidden under the rhododendron bushes, and we had little rubber daggers and stuff. And we'd just splatter each other with blood, and we'd stab each other with our rubber daggers, and howl and roll around on the ground, and just give them the best show we knew how to do. That's what we did.
And amazing, like, stories about these Hollywood legends like John Wayne, when you were a little girl.
Yeah.
You remember him?
I went to the studio to visit my father, and he made a lot of Westerns, including Hondo with John Wayne. Some other John Wayne movies, too. But there was a little dusty town and the swinging saloon doors, and it was mesmerizing, you know, pretty ladies with their hair all done, powdering their noses, and I knew not to say a word, you know, because on a set, that's the thing you do. You keep quiet. And I was about 3, and I saw John Wayne, the tallest man I'd ever seen. And he came up and said, "How do you do?" you know. And he put me on the tallest chair that ever existed, his great big chair. And then he got a little bored, you know. I was 3, and he forgot about me. And he walks down the dusty road to his horse. And I'm up on the highest chair, and I have a little dress on and my little underpants. You know, and I was always aware when anybody picked me up that maybe my underpants would show.
Sure, that's
you know?
a big thing when you're little.
Not a thong.
Not a thong. Thank goodness. Right. That's all we need.
You got to be careful with thongs. Anyway, so I was careful with my underpants, and I was always careful when anyone picked me up to pull my dress down. But I knew that I couldn't get off this high chair. So even when I had to go to the bathroom, more than I could tell you. So I remember that, just agonizingly, sitting on this high chair and not able to get down until finally, couldn't see anybody, my mother, and I didn't see a familiar face. Somebody remembered me, but like hours later.
You're stuck, stranded by John Wayne on the set.
Yeah.
Now, what I didn't know about you as a little child, you had polio.
I did. When I was 9, I had polio.
I think we have a photo of your dad taking you out of the hospital right there.
There I am, yeah.
Look at that little girl. And how long were you in the hospital?
I think it was about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was that long. I think it was more like 2.
2?
I don't really remember.
It's-
Maybe two, three.
And in the book, you talk about how it's so panicked, your whole family, and your mom, and the
Yeah.
scrubbing that went down of all the furniture.
You can't, you know, those days, you know, mercifully, they have the Salk vaccine, which came right after my polio. My whole class had to have these first experimental series of shots, so of course they hated me for years. And when I got back from the hospital, they had rolled up the rugs, taken all the furniture out of the house. They had torn up the lawns. They had drained the swimming pool. They had taken all the wallpaper off the walls, and they were repainting the whole house because they didn't know how it was transmitted. Gave away the dog.
Oh, it was very. There are parts of this book that are so moving. I'm going to read this little quote. Although, see this word, pellucid? I didn't know. Is that how you say it?
Yes, pellucid.
I never heard of that word. I had to look it up. You're smarter than me, Mia. But this is very touching about after your father died and you went back to the house, and I think it really shows some of the beauty of the sentence structure that you have in here. Somewhere between birth and death, inside one
pellucid,
thank you, moment, I stepped outside dread and imaginings, the fist of anger and guilt unclenched, and I lay down, clear as glass, on the bed where my father had died. So touching. It really got me that when you went back to the house and Ann Sothern, who you all know, Ann Sothern, famous TV actress, had moved into your family's home.
Yeah.
And the courage that it took to go into that room.
Yes, I was staying with her while I was doing the pilot for this Peyton Place thing, and it was the one room nobody went into. My father had died in that room, so like no one would go in there, and last of all me, until the day before I was scheduled to leave and go back to my mom in New York, and then I went in the room and had this major experience of a sort of a spiritual experience.
And it's so beautifully captured in that chapter. It really is. More with Mia Farrow and her book, What Falls Away, which I seriously encourage you to buy and read after this break. We'll be right back. Still ahead, one of country music's biggest stars, Randy Travis.
How much butter does it take for mouth-watering mashed potatoes? None. Use Swanson broth instead. Rich, golden Swanson chicken broth adds loads of flavor, and it's 99% fat-free. Put in Swanson broth instead of butter for delicious mashed potatoes that are light, fluffy, and low in fat. And now Swanson broth also comes in a resealable carton, so adding flavor without adding fat's a snap. Recipe after recipe. Swanson broth, when all you want to add is flavor.
How to tell SOS from Brillo, even if you're from another planet. Just pull on it like this. If it comes apart, it's Brillo. If it doesn't, it's SOS. Got a tough mess? Get SOS.
This Tuesday at GNC, Gold Card members save 20% on everything. You can join at General Nutrition Centers. Then once a month, get 20% off vitamins, minerals, sports nutrition, and everything else in the store. See you this Tuesday.
Ask your veterinarian for Advantage. Advantage. Don't give fleas a biting chance.
Shaw's Supermarkets is here at the Grand Canyon to introduce new Charmin Triple Roll. So, how long is it? Shaw's Supermarkets knows it's 3 times longer than a single roll. 3 times longer. That's over 100 feet longer than a double roll. No other bath tissue lasts longer and is so soft. It's a great combination of softness and length. Get new Charmin Triple Roll from Shaw's Supermarkets. It's 3 times longer and it still fits.
Taxi lady?
Oh, hi.
Hop in.
I've got to go to school.
Service with a smile. Drive you straight to the door.
It's out of your way.
Yeah, maiden, your way is my way. Didn't you know that?
Ryan O'Neal and you. How about that? Peyton Place. How old were you when you started that show?
18.
You were 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That beautiful long hair.
Yeah.
One day, what did you do in the dressing room?
I took a pair of scissors and cut it to about 1/2 inch, and I put it in a Glad bag.
Now, you didn't tell the producers or the writers?
I knew they wouldn't let me
Yeah.
because it had become like an ingredient in the show, and that's why I thought it had to go. And also, I was getting a little vain about it, so I thought that wasn't healthy.
But look at that picture of your hair. Look how beautiful you look right there.
I thought it looked all right.
Yeah.
And they made such a fuss. There was such a howl. The producers got angry, and they ran in with wigs, and they made me cry, and they said I had responsibilities and I wasn't meeting them. And then all the press, there must have been nothing going on in the world that day because there was people talking about it. I couldn't believe it to this day. You brought it up.
What's in the book?
But I felt it had become an issue.
Yeah, it's an important point. Now, were you with Frank Sinatra at that point? No.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
was.
were, yes.
I was. So people said I did it because I was mad at him or something like that. But he loved it,
Yeah.
and I kept it that way for years because he was crazy about it.
Very touching, your relationship with him in this book, and
I loved him. I still love him.
yeah, you're still close friends, right?
Yeah, I'm nuts about him.
Yeah.
He's great.
Here's a sentence that you wrote about Frank that I loved as well. Although the armies of his heart and mind did frequent battle and left him isolated and restless, in matters of conscious and human hope, they were one. Again, impressed with your writing ability, Mia
Thanks,
Farrow.
Rosie.
It is very beautiful. The fame that you encountered with him, the level of fame, unbelievable. The press following you on boats when you went up to visit the Kennedy family, and
That's right. We took this boat trip up the coast, and they thought one of the Kennedy women, Pat Lawford, was Jackie Kennedy. But even before that, it was crazy. You couldn't see the water for the boats.
right, and people were very upset about the age difference between the two of you.
Yeah, and that wasn't a big issue. That wasn't the problem. Well, it later became a big issue for us, I guess. But, I don't know what that was. I don't know why people got so upset. I guess because he had the swinging image, and I was, as you saw on TV, people thought I was even younger than 18, because I
Right.
think I was playing about 16.
Right. Well, you did look awful young. You talked about the fame. By becoming famous, I have bombed the very bridges I needed most to cross the gulf to connect with other people. Isn't that, in the end, what redeems us? I find that to be so true.
Right.
For myself as well. It's very hard when you become famous. People don't really treat you like you're a normal person, and you lose touch with your humanity in a lot of ways.
Particularly if you're shy and immature. It's hard enough anyway if you have those ingredients. But then if you're famous and people present themselves to you a certain way and have a preconception of what you are, and I couldn't get through to people. I didn't have any sense of who I was after a while. I was really lost. And I thought it was irrevocable. And I didn't have the strength. I was so shy to go back to college. To go to college, period.
Right.
Because I couldn't be out in public by myself at that point. I was quite lost.
One of the wonderful parts of this book is talking about all your children. And I think the people who have an issue with the fact that you have so many should read the book, because I think it is explained concisely and clearly, and with such meaning about all. I think it's wonderful. I know you don't like to be held up as a hero for that, but I'm inspired by the fact that you have all these beautiful, wonderful rainbow collection of children. I think it's an amazing thing. I really do.
Thank you. It's a real blessing for me. I don't know why people would have an issue with that. Why would they? I think it's because I'm an actor.
Really?
Don't you think? I mean, if it was a regular person doing it?
Well, it's true. Whenever they have, like, on 60 Minutes of those shows, people who adopt many children, everyone applauds them. I think you're right, maybe, because you're an actress.
Because nobody in our business has done this.
Right.
That I know of. That's the only reason I can think of. I mean, why shouldn't I spend my life doing this? I've only done one film a year, and that's, from either 3 to 9 weeks of my time. And even then I bring the little kids.
Right.
So that's what I do with my day. I don't know why it's incomprehensible to some people.
And I haven't met all of your children, but the ones I've met are so
Aren't they great?
full of life and
Yeah.
fun and well-adjusted. It's really a beautiful thing. I think you're great. I really do, and I love the book, and I hope that everyone goes out and buys it. What Falls Away is the name of the book, Mia Farrow's life story, and what a wonderful, life story it is. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Mia Farrow. We'll be right back after this break.